The Cleveland Browns defense is Cam Ward's biggest nightmare, and he's going to have to fight his fears if the Titans are going to win on Sunday. I'll explain on today's edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. On today's show, I'm going to go over exactly how the Tennessee Titans can win against the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about my keys to victory, including Cam Ward's biggest nightmare. We'll talk about the players to watch in this game, including Dan Moore, who can help with those nightmares for Cam Ward. And I'll tell you what you should be rooting for this weekend in the NFL outside of the Titans game. Also, score, gambling, fantasy predictions, all of that. Before we get into it, do want to thank you for making the Locked On Titans your first listen each and every day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day. Shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. Couldn't do it without you guys. If you aren't an everydayer, you need to be one. But with that being said, Cam Ward's biggest nightmares are going to be on display against the Cleveland Browns defense. Everything that Cam Ward has struggled with the most so far this year is what Cleveland is going to represent. Number one, Myles Garrett. And we're going to talk a ton about Myles Garrett, but they have a dominant #1 pass rusher, which has been an issue for the Titans all year long and has to have Cam Ward shaking in his boots. Not only that, but the Browns' run defense, top 10 in the NFL. The Browns have a good run defense, holding opponents to 101 rushing yards per game. And then finally, the Browns are one of the heaviest teams in the NFL in cover one man. What's cover one man? Well, you got man coverage across the board on the 5 eligible receivers. You have an intermediate zone defender perusing the, middle of the field, the intermediate to short distances, and then you have one deep defender to make sure that they don't get beat deep. Cam Ward truly has been the worst quarterback in the NFL against cover one man. There is no doubt about it. 47.5% completion percentage. He's 29-61. Only 348 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Cam Ward is the second worst quarterback in the NFL in EPA per play against cover one man. Like, it is a disaster. He cannot beat man coverage right now. Now, that's not all Cam Ward's fault. Okay, think about why Cam Ward can't beat man coverage. One, man coverage is going to allow the defense to bring more people. Yeah, you could have an intermediate hook defender over the middle of the field, or you could blitz that player. And now you're sending 5. And the biggest problem is no one on the Titans can create separation against man. Nobody on the Titans can win consistently against man coverage. They're a slow wide receiver group. They don't have great route runners. It is just schematically an issue for the Titans' talent on offense outside of Cam Ward. But regardless, he has struggled against cover one man. Worst quarterback in the NFL against cover one man. I mean, it's bad, okay? So, they're not going to be able to run the ball. They have a dominant, maybe the best pass rusher in the history of the NFL. He's in the conversation in Myles Garrett. And they play 43.9% man coverage, 34% cover one man. So this is a team that is truly dedicated to man coverage, whereas the teams the Titans have played in recent weeks, like last week against Jacksonville, one of the zone heaviest teams in the NFL. Seattle, another team that can be very zone heavy as well. The Titans have seen mostly zone coverage over the last 3 weeks. So this is going to be a big-time switch up back to what Cam Ward struggled with the most throughout the first part of the season. So what do the Titans need to do? Okay, the number one key to victory is Cam versus cover one. The Titans have to do things to create openings against man coverage. You're not going to win one-on-one consistently. Just, hey, my guy is going to beat you in man coverage against the Browns secondary. That's not going to happen. Okay, Tyson Campbell is a decent player. We know that Denzel Ward is a great player, one of the best corners in the NFL. So what do the Titans have to do? Number one, they need to go with heavy formations with multiple tight ends, get 2 or 3 tight ends out on the field, and then shift those heavy personnel packages to wide, go 5 wide. And Gunnar Helm and Chigakonkwo are both ideally suited to be split out wide. They have the ability to do that. So put a 2 tight end set out on the field. Get the Cleveland Browns into their base defense with more linebackers on the field, and then shift out to a wide one. And like we saw at the beginning of the game last week, you could throw those quick 5 wide passes, get 3 or 4 yards, and get your drives going. The Titans did it early, and they went away from it as the game went on. It's like they had a good opening script of like, hey, we're going to run the ball, we're going to play in heavy personnel, we're going to shift out of that heavy personnel and throw the ball on first down like they did the first 2 first downs of the game, and then they totally went away from all of it and reverted back to the offense that we've seen for most of the season. So the Titans have to keep going with what they did last week that did well. They need to use motions. They need to use shifts. They need to use bunch formations to try to mix up the man coverage and get manufactured separation for a wide receiver group that has been terrible against man coverage this year. So the number one key to victory for the Titans is they must help Cam Ward overcome his biggest issues, and they must have a good schematic plan for cover one man that includes motions, shifts, heavy personnel, formation shifting out into wide sets and wide formations. That's what the Titans have to do to take advantage of the Browns' heavy man coverage defense. So going to be a big week for Cam Ward to show if he's improved in that regard at all throughout the season. The second key to victory is 3rd and miles. The Tennessee Titans are going to be in 3rd down situations nonstop. They're not going to be able to run the ball against the Cleveland Browns defense. It's just not going to happen. So what are you going to do when it's 3rd and miles? Not 3rd and long, 3rd and miles. Okay? Because if you don't stop Myles Garrett, if you don't prevent Myles Garrett from wrecking this game, he will single-handedly win this game for the Browns. He has 19 sacks on the season. So, here's the good part about using heavy personnel packages. You can have an extra offensive lineman next to Dan Moore. You can have a tight end, 2 tight ends next to Dan Moore to help with Myles Garrett. You flatten the line of scrimmage so that he can't get to the edges as much. When you have these shifts and these motions, you can use condensed formations to get better opportunities to the outside and use people as more natural chippers where they don't actually have to chip Myles Garrett, but since they are next to Dan Moore in a condensed alignment right next to him, they're going to give Myles Garrett more traffic to get through before he can get off. You're going to have to slide the formation that way and essentially let Dan Moore and Peter Skoronski play 2-on-1 against Myles Garrett. That would be my plan for the Titans as well. So they absolutely have to have a plan for 3rd and miles because they're not going to be able to run the football. The final key to victory to me is on the defensive side of the ball, and it's stop the run. You must stop the run. The Cleveland Browns offense is terrible. Okay? They have no confidence in their offensive line. They are the lowest graded pass blocking unit in the entire NFL this season per Pro Football Focus. This is a team that is terrible on offense, pretty much as bad as the Titans. Think about that. This is a team that is as bad as the Titans on the offensive side of the ball. But in my opinion, they are a tick better because they have good offensive coaching from Kevin Stefanski, who, with minimal talent on the offensive line, limited talent in the skill position players, bad quarterback play all season, despite that, the Browns do smart things to try to help their offense out. Okay? They at least try to do things like get the screen game going, run the ball out of heavy personnel, use heavy play action, all the things that we have been asking the Titans offense to do all season long to help a rookie quarterback. The Browns do those things. Now, they don't have a lot of talent on offense, and their offensive line is really bad. So, of course, it doesn't work, and they don't score points, but at least they are doing the right things, which is why when Browns fans tell me that Kevin Stefanski is a terrible coach, I've been watching Browns film all week, the last couple of games with Shedeur Sanders, and the things that Kevin Stefanski does on offense are the things that we hope that the Titans would do for Cam Ward, but they don't. So with that, if you stop the run, and Shedeur Sanders has not played well. He made a good throw down the field in the game against the Raiders that was a 50-yard chuck. He made a good throw to Harold Fannin Jr. in the game against the 49ers for the Browns' only touchdown. But he has missed a lot of throws. He's backing up in the pocket. He's taking sacks. He's not getting rid of the ball, all these other things. So if the Titans stop the run, which the Browns' run offense is better than the Titans, make no mistake about it, it's better than the Titans. They've had a 140-yard game and a 158-yard game. They ran for 138 yards last week against San Francisco. They can get off in the ground game. But I don't think that their run game is so good that the Titans shouldn't be able to beat them up front and stop them from running the ball. Now, if the Browns do run the ball for the Titans, if the Browns go for over 100 rushing yards against the Titans are going to lose. So the keys to victory for me, and let me know your keys to victory down below in the comments. Cam versus cover one, 3rd and Myles, have a plan for Myles Garrett, and stop the run of the Cleveland Browns run offense. With that in mind, though, time to zoom in a little bit. Talk about the players to watch in this game. And again, I'm going to start on the offensive side of the ball. The Titans need a big game out of Dan Moore. Do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you could place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly, player props that update as guys heat up. You could bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Once again, that's FanDuel.com. It's FanDuel. The game moves fast, and so can you. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast, breaking down what the Tennessee Titans need to do to help Cam Ward overcome his biggest nightmares against the Cleveland Browns. We talked about the keys to victory, having a plan against the cover one man, helping Dan Moore with Myles Garrett. We talked about stopping the run. Now I want to zoom in and talk about the players that can get these things done. And again, we start on the offensive side of the ball for the Titans, where obviously my player to watch number one on offense is Cam Ward. We talked about why this is a big challenge for Cam Ward schematically, what he struggled with the most this year going against man coverage. He's obviously got to step up and play better than he has against man coverage for most of the season. But I want to move to Dan Moore. Dan Moore is really the big key here. And the reason for that is because Myles Garrett now, he moves around. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Myles Garrett will rush from the same exact place over and over and over again and he'll never change alignment. The Browns will move Myles Garrett around. Don't mistake me here. However, okay, Myles Garrett has basically played like 450 of his 575 snaps going over the left tackle on the right side of the defense. 448 plus 8, which quick math, 456, plus 13, which is quick math, 469. 469 of the 574 defensive snaps Myles Garrett's had this year have come on the right-hand side. So it's going to be Dan Moore. And the reality is, Dan Moore has played against Myles Garrett a ton throughout his career. This isn't going to be new for Dan Moore. He's seen Myles Garrett when he was playing with the Steelers 2 times a year, every year, nonstop, okay? And we know that Dan Moore really struggles against the elite pass rushers in the NFL, but he's going to have to bow his neck. He's going to have to come to play. Again, I mentioned it last week. I think the Titans are in a tough spot here. I think this is a bad matchup, even though the Browns are a good team. But Dan Moore has given up 8 sacks and 36 pressures so far this year. If he has a game that represents that level of play, the Titans are screwed basically no matter what they do. You're going to get chip help from tight ends, wide receivers, maybe an extra offensive lineman, running backs. They're going to slide that way and let Peter Skoronski help Dan Moore, I would imagine. But he still has to do his part. He's still going to be tasked with one-on-one opportunities. He's still going to have to play a good game against Myles Garrett if the Titans have any chance of winning. So he's going to get help, but those people can't do it for him. Especially, the Titans' offense has this problem where because the offensive line at offensive tackle specifically has been so bad, they've had to leave in a tight end, leave in a running back, and then they only have 3 guys running out in the pass formations or into routes, passing routes. So it's like the defense gets to play 7-on-3, and there's nobody open. And that's a problem for the Browns offense too. The Browns offense has a lot of similar issues where they don't trust their offensive line. They don't trust their offensive tackles. They've had a lot of injuries and things like that. Jack Conklin has been terrible. We'll talk about that in a second. So they are playing offense as if they don't trust their offensive line, which think about the Eagles or think about what the Colts have been able to do or think about, the Detroit Lions over the last few years. Think about how much of an advantage it would be if you didn't have to help your offensive tackles nonstop every single passing snap. And you could just send 5 guys out into routes nonstop. Man, what that would be like. But regardless, Dan Moore has to come to play. Dan Moore has to be good in this game. Cam Ward, Dan Moore, and the final guy on the offensive side of the ball that has to play well for the Titans is Chimere Dike. Chim Dike is the only player on the team, in my opinion, that is naturally suited to beat man coverage, and it's because of the speed. 4.3 speed for Chimere Dike. He had his best game of the year, which trying to remember exactly which game it was against Indianapolis, the first matchup against Indianapolis. I think it was. Yes, the first matchup against Indianapolis. No, the second matchup against Indianapolis. My apologies. Second matchup against Indianapolis. 8 targets, 7 catches, 93 yards, and Indianapolis played a ton of man coverage in that game. Chim Dike has the speed to beat man coverage, and not only that, but you look at Cleveland, and I talked about the fact that Cleveland has a pretty good secondary, okay? They have a pretty good secondary. But if you were to attack somebody in Cleveland's secondary, I think it's Myles Harden. Myles Harden is a guy that you would want to go after. And Myles Harden, for the most part, plays in the slot. 335 slot snaps this year for Myles Harden. He is a guy who is primarily going to play in the slot. 7th round draft pick for the Browns out of South Dakota last year. Chim Dike against Myles Harden is a massive, massive advantage for the Titans. Can they get to it? Can they motion Chim Dike, get him behind a couple of guys in a bunch, and then run him on a drag route? Can they use him down the field to beat one-on-one coverage? Can they get him on a quick out? Can they get him on a quick slant? They have to get Chim Dike against Myles Harden going. That is a primary advantage. You don't want to attack freaking Denzel Ward. That can't be the plan, okay? And quite honestly, Tyson Campbell, since he came over, has been pretty good for Jacksonville. Been targeted 34 times, only gave up 19 catches. It's not too bad, okay? So Myles Harden, and again, Denzel Ward, 46 targets, 28 catches. You do not want to throw at Denzel Ward. You do not want to throw at the outside corners of the Browns. You want to attack their slot corner, Myles Harden. You want to attack their linebackers, Get them in man coverage against tight ends, Devin Bush, Carson Schlesinger, excellent linebacker. Browns draft class this year has been really, really good. But regardless, that's where you have to attack, okay? Myles Harden, the Browns linebackers, that's what you're looking to do. And in man coverage, that means your slot guy, that means Chimere Dike. Has to have a big game. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, my number one player to watch is Jeffery Simmons. And Jeffery Simmons and Arden Key is my second player to watch. They need to attack the right side of the offensive line for the Browns. Cam Robinson has been pretty good at left tackle. Joel Bitonio, really good left guard. Ethan Posich, been pretty good at center for the Browns this year. I know that their run blocking's been bad. There's been people in and out of the lineup, but those three guys who are currently playing right now actually have been pretty solid, okay? And they were pretty decent last week, if I'm honest with you. However, the right side of the offensive line. Wyatt Teller is a good player. I want the Titans to sign Wyatt Teller for right guard in the offseason. That's going to be one of my big pushes. I want to get Wyatt Teller on the Titans. But Wyatt Teller didn't finish that game. He's banged up. A former first-round pick in Tevin Jenkins actually was getting those opportunities at right guard. And then our old friend, Titans legend Jack Conklin, has been the right tackle for the Browns most of the year. He has been bad. Conklin's given up 4 sacks, 24 pressures. It has been a struggle for Jack Conklin. He's old. He's had a lot of injuries. He's beat up. He has not been good this year. And in his stead, when he's been injured because he's been banged up a ton and didn't finish last game against San Francisco, KT Levinson has been the guy in his place. Arden Key has not been good this year. Jeffery Simmons has been incredible, but Arden Key has not been good this year. Okay, no doubt about it. But Arden Key is still good enough to take advantage of KT Levinston, who, and I had it right with Jack Conklin, 4 sacks, 24 pressures in 8 games. In 8 games this year, KT Levinston, 5 sacks, 20 pressures. Cam Robinson, 5 sacks, 20 pressures. Cam Robinson's been better as of late, but again, Arden Key has a great matchup here. Arden Key has a great opportunity to dominate this game. Can he do it? Can he even play well? And that could allow Jeffery Simmons to dominate the game, because Simmons should have a good opportunity to win no matter who's at guard for the Browns as well. So if Simmons and Arden Key can attack the right side of the Browns offensive line, they're going to get pressure on Shedeur, and he's going to make mistakes. Now, I also got to shout out my final player to watch, and it's Kevin Winston. He needs to rebound. And number one, I think the Titans are going to play a ton of big nickel because the Browns like to go heavy formations. The Browns use a ton of tight ends. The Browns love going heavy sets. That's what the Browns love to do in their offense. They are a heavy offense. And the Titans could go to their base defense, but I think that it's likely we see a ton of big nickel with Kevin Winston as the nickel cornerback so that he can help against the run game. And not only that, but the Browns do have some speed in Jerry Jeudy and Isaiah Bond. They can attack down the field, and teams have been attacking the middle of the field and attacking Kevin Winston and Amani Hooker and Cody Barton and Cedric Gray. And we need Kevin Winston to rebound in a big way here against the run and rebound with the zones over the middle and deal with the speed. So Kevin Winston is a guy that I have my eye on in this one. But with the keys to victory, the players to watch, all out of the way, now it's time to get into some predictions and give you your rooting guide for the Tennessee Titans tank in Week 14. Titans fans, let's cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We went over my keys to victory in this game, overcoming Cam Ward's biggest nightmares. We talked about my players to watch in this matchup with Dan Moore against Third and Myles, and then the Titans defensive line with Jeffery Simmons and Arden Key against a susceptible offensive line of the Cleveland Browns on the right side. But now I want to go into my predictions for this game, my game and score prediction, who wins, how much, fantasy, gambling, and a tank guide for Titans fans. But before I do, thanks again for making Locked On Titans your first listen each and every day, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure you get subscribed, stay subscribed. Again, it's your team every day. But again, I have been teasing it on yesterday's crossover episode, throughout today's episode. I do not think the Titans win this game. I think the Browns defense is way too good. The Titans defense is not good, although they've been better as of late. The Browns offense is not good. The Titans offense is not good. So the only good part of this game is the Browns defense, and I think they dominate. Now, the Titans special teams is also good, and my guy Spencer German from Locked On Browns said yesterday that he is worried about the special teams. The Browns have not been good on special teams. That is not an area of expertise for the Cleveland Browns. So if the Titans can find a way to take advantage, there's some points. There's some opportunities. That's what they'll need. But I don't think there's a lot of points in this game. I think this is 16-10 Browns. I think the Browns get their only touchdown on a Myles Garrett strip sack. Or Myles Garrett moves Cam Ward into someone else who gets a strip sack. I think there's a strip sack, gives the Browns great field position, and they cash it in with a touchdown. I think the Titans just don't move the ball at all day. It's just going to be a struggle all day long. So I think the Browns win this one. That's probably best for the Titans moving forward, but man, it's going to be annoying after, Shedeur has a bad game, doesn't do anything, makes like one or two good plays, and then everybody says he's better than Cam Ward because the Browns beat the Titans when the Titans are the worst team in the NFL. I'm already annoyed by it. Talked about it earlier this week. Not excited for it. But with that in mind, we move to my beautiful dark twisted fantasy player of the week, and it's Chimere Dike. I mentioned Chimere Dike earlier against the Browns man coverage. Also, you get the added value of he could return a punt for you, and that'll give you points as well. I think if you're looking for a cheap flex option in your daily fantasy lineup, you got bye weeks, injuries as we head towards the playoffs for season-long lineups, I think that Chimere Dike makes a ton of sense, can bring you great value this week. I think he has a great week here. And then finally, keeping it plus 100. For me, again, I told you, I like the Browns in this one by 6 points. I would not take the Titans plus 3.5. In my opinion, plus 3.5 is just Vegas begging people to bet on the Titans. They're begging people to bet on the Titans because I think that's a bad line. I think it should be 4.5, 5.5. I think the Browns are significantly better than the Titans. The over-under is 33.5. You guys know I hate over-unders. Don't like them, hate them. 33.5, though, I would take the under if I had to. I'm not betting it like I would the Browns minus 3.5. But, if you want to take an over and under, I'm going under. I don't think there's a lot of points in this game. Now, as for the tank guide, folks, obviously, if you want the Titans to get the number 1 overall pick, you need the Tennessee Titans to lose this game. And then the other two teams that play this week that have 2 wins, which are the Titans. Again, someone DM'd me this week and asked me about this. I don't know how you guys I say it every single episode and every Sunday for sure, but the number 1 tiebreaker for draft picks is strength of schedule. The Titans have the hardest schedule in the NFL. It's not going to change. So that means that the Titans will lose the tiebreaker with any other team if their records are the same. So the Titans have to have the least amount of wins in the NFL with no ties, or they're not going to get the number 1 overall pick. So if you want the Tennessee Titans to be able to win another game and still get the number 1 pick, you need the Saints, the Raiders, and the Giants to win a game. The Giants are on a bye this week. The Saints have to go on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, right. And then the Raiders host the Denver Broncos. Now, the Raiders played tough with the Denver Broncos when they played on that primetime game in Denver, but Denver just played terrible. They're going to play better this time because they have better coaches and better players, and they've seen what the Raiders do already. So, if you're somebody who cares about the Titans draft pick, basically all you can do this week is hope that the Titans lose, because the Saints and the Raiders are surely not winning. They have as good of a chance to win this week as the Giants, and the Giants don't play a game. Now, the Ravens host the Steelers, and while that may not benefit the Titans' number one draft pick, the Titans still need the Ravens to make the playoffs to that 5th-round pick to jump to a 4th-round pick. And Draymond Jones already has a sack and a half, so we just need another half sack to get to 2, and then the Titans' pick that they got from the Ravens goes from a 5th to a 4th. That's massive. The Ravens play the Steelers this week. Again, big game for the Ravens to win the AFC North, get to the playoffs, because if the Ravens don't win the AFC North, I don't think that they make the playoffs. So that's what you need to be rooting for this week. Go Saints, go Raiders, go Ravens. Ew, I don't like that one. That doesn't make me feel good. But either way, that's the reality that we're living with right now. But that's going to do it for me today, folks. I'll be back with you guys on Sunday immediately after the game, going live here on the Locked On Titans YouTube channel. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.